This one looks like a little race machine, but how well does it ride? The Beta 125R, Beta's small 4-stroke supermoto. Yeah, well, not small at all. That's what it wants to whisper in my ear, I think, this 125R from Beta. It looks like a proper race bike with the brand logos of the racing sponsors on it. It looks like a race bike, you have to say. And it's also the case that this feeling here in the saddle carries on when you hop on. And of course, that doesn't come with only advantages. So, I'm here on our 1000 PS Supermoto test track. This is where we ride our best lap times at the end. Yeah, and in that video we also see where it slots in compared with other bikes. And the machine is, after all, basically made for the Supermoto track. But of course it's also meant to get our kids and one day the grandkids, whoever ends up riding it, safely to school and to work bring. And I'm trying to find out how safely and how cool it can do that at the same time. So, when you sit yourself up here, you get this view of this racing-oriented cockpit, this racing-oriented front end. You can, like on an enduro or like on a supermoto, slide a long way forwards and backwards here. You've got loads of room to move around. You've got a fairly Spartan look, a compact display like you know from sport enduros. Unfortunately, a bit of a weedy exhaust. I would have liked something meatier here, something that also looks the part. But otherwise, the controls are also chosen to be very down-to-earth and purist. And that carries on across the rest of the bike. Here's our data recording, so we know the truth. Everything compact, everything minimalist. That makes it light. That makes it super lively and agile. But of course, to a certain extent, also uncomfortable. If you ride longer distances on it, it's just going to be a bit more uncomfortable than normal bikes in this class. And another thing is, at higher speeds it starts, maybe, and if you're too up, you notice it even more than on your own. To get a bit more nervous than other bikes in this class, because it's just so heavily tuned towards handling and, yeah, cornering fun. Out on track, I have to say, what I liked was the rev-happy engine, which also, when it runs up into the limiter, doesn't let me fall into a trap. You can feel very clearly when it has gone past its peak. Up top, the power potential tails off a bit. Then you usually catch the shift point pretty well and you don't even end up in the limiter in the first place. Then it's like this, you sort through the gears smoothly. But it doesn't have a quick shifter. By now we've also got a few 125 models with quick shifters as well. And in the braking zone you've got the challenge that ABS is fitted. But I have to say, the ABS at least, that when the system gets confused because of the extreme maneuvers, it doesn't completely dump the brake pressure, it only reduces it. And it does feel a bit vague when the lever gives a little and you've got slightly reduced brake pressure, but it doesn't leave you totally stranded. Overall, I think that in terms of handling and line choice, it's a quick bike. And what really sets it apart, and the praise probably also goes a bit in the direction of these tires, is that I dared to open the throttle fairly early. That's one of those things where you can see whether a bike is really good and gives you confidence. I had a very good feeling for traction. You can tell that too. You've got a high quality linkage swing arm. You've basically got a layout like you know from race bikes, how the whole chassis is put together. You've got a pretty good feeling for traction and for the throttle, and you dare to get on the gas fairly early. And on corner entry, it's also the case that you dare to push quite hard, and you build a lot of confidence in the front, and you dare to carry out really more aggressive riding maneuvers here. I have to say, you've got to pass some of that praise on to the Conti road tires. These are tires that are properly high quality, because often with 125s, for cost reasons, they'll slap on some cheap rubbish. I know these tires. My son used them privately on his 50 Beta. Good grip in the wet, good grip in the dry. That's a high quality product that I can only recommend to everyone. If you're buying a new 125, have a look at the tires. If it's some cheap stuff, swap it out. Or go for a comparable product from another premium supplier. Because manufacturers often save money in the wrong place. At the end of the day, you have to think, do I want something this Spartan? I know, it's insanely cool. It rides great. But of course it has a bit of a comfort hit here and there. But now I'm really curious. We've already tested a few 125s. And it really ought to be pretty far up the front. Because if this one isn't quick, then which one is? But let's see what the lap time table says.